What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jersey Nick Moto. Well, you saw the title of the video, all my Harleys have issues. Actually, thinking about it, that's not really true. The only one that doesn't have issues is Lola, who you saw me riding at the beginning of this video. And Lola, I must say, over the years has been Miss Reliability. And even after I beat the crap out of her, 80,000+ miles, all the lower 48 states. She gets abused all the time, ridden in the rain all the time. That's why she's dirty. She's running good. Like, should probably knock on wood when I say that. However, the other two, that's a different story. Alright, we'll start with Roxy, the Sportster. So, I took her out the other day. I went down to visit my dad, about 45 minutes away on the highway. And when I came home, my left pant leg is soaked. And I'm like, ah, shit, is this oil? I thought maybe the filter was pissing out oil or something. But upon further investigation, it's the brake line. It's leaking right here. So, not a big deal. I said, all right, I'll get another brake line. It's a good excuse to put new brake fluid in it. That hasn't been flushed in a while. The brake fluid's probably all shitty. So, I know I could get aftermarket, but I said, let me go to Harley first, because I've had bad luck with aftermarket parts on Lola. It just, I guess it's the newer bikes. If I could get Harley, I would get Harley parts for the newer ones. So I said, let me just go to Harley, order a brake line, right? Should be easy. So I go to my local dealer, where I've bought parts for her before, and I go in there and I tell him, I say, hey, I need a brake line, front brake line for a 2018 Sportster 48 Special. So he goes in the computer and he tells me that bike doesn't exist. So what do you mean it doesn't exist? He said they didn't start making 48 Specials until 2019. I said, no, it's a 2018. I've gotten parts from here before. He said, no. He said, you must have the wrong year. I knew I didn't have the wrong year. He said, give me the VIN number. Well, I didn't have the registration on me with the VIN number. So I went home, called him back, and I gave him the VIN number. Said, I was just in there. Need the brake line for the 2018 48 Special. Give him the VIN number, and he goes, oh yeah, that's a 2018 48 Special. Right. So then he's looking up the part, and he says, oh, they don't make a brake line for that bike. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I have to call the Harley tech department. This was on July 5th, by the way, the day after 4th of July. He said, they won't be open until midweek next week, and I'll have to see why they don't make a brake line for that bike. Fine. I wasn't in a rush anyway. I hang up the phone, and I'm thinking, it just didn't sound right to me. So let me call another dealer. So I call another dealer about 45 minutes south of me. And first I couldn't get through, so they took my name and number, said they'd call back. I figured they'd never call back, but they did within 20 minutes. Explained to him the situation, and he said, okay, he said, yeah, that's a 2018 48 Special. The brake line is coming up as obsolete, but they have a few left. So I ordered one from there. It still hasn't come in yet. If it doesn't come in, then I'll go get an aftermarket one. But anyway, something you think would be simple. Like, I didn't expect Harley to have the brake line right there, but it's a brake line. How hard could it be to find a brake line for a Sportster? I guess, obviously the only difference is this year it came stock with these little mini apes, and it has to be a longer brake line. But yeah. If that doesn't work out, I'll just measure it and get an aftermarket one. So that's the issue with that bike. It doesn't matter. She could sit. I have other bikes to ride. Now, Sarah Jane here. If you were following, Slick of Slickhead Custom Cycles, go check him out. Worked on this bike over the winter. He was very helpful. And we knew at that point it sumped a little too much. And it was probably the check ball. But we weren't going to address it then. I had it at his house, for a long enough time, and he helped me plenty. And that could be addressed at a later date. So what she was doing was kind of normal for a Shovelhead. If she sat too long, she'd sump a little oil, right? And I ride this bike a lot. I will say I baby her because I don't want to push anything and create any more problems. I baby her, but I ride her a lot. So anyway, like if I let it sit a week, she'd sump a little bit. And then, all right, now wait, let me say this first. If you're gonna get into a whole oil debate down in the comments, do your thing. But I trust Slick. He told me to run 50 weight, straight 50 in the cooler weather. When it started to get hot, put straight 60 in. That's what I did. I trust him. That's what I'm gonna do. However, Sarah Jane here must not like straight 60 weight, because when I put that in her, now she pukes like she was drinking too much whiskey the night before, even if I only let her sit a day. So, again, probably a check ball. Not going to dress it down, just going to make sure she always has enough oil in her, and I'm going to start her with a solo cup under her so the oil doesn't go all over the place. So no, not a big issue. But yeah, all my Harleys have issues, except for Lola. And I probably shouldn't say that because that's just a jinx right there. But that's a little update what's going on in the garage. You saw me riding Lola this morning. Now let's dig old Sarah Jane out and let's take her for a ride, because I never pass a chance to ride my Shovelhead. I absolutely love that bike. Oh, and like I said, go check out Slickhead Custom Cycles. He helped me out a lot with that bike. Check out his videos. He has a bunch of old bikes. He really knows his shit. And if you check out Slick, you gotta check out his buddy Hippie, Hippie's Chopper Corner. You probably already know about Hippie already. Hippie's blowing up on YouTube. He's a really cool guy too. Yeah, Slick and Hippie, I think they got something going on, but hey, that's not my business. I heard they eloped down in North Carolina this year, but to each their own. Anyway, all right, let's go take a ride on Sarah Jane. Alright, it's yet another day, and we're going to go ride. I told you she's the only one behaving, so we're going to take her. We're going to go down and meet Bobby. Remember Bobby? Remember when we used to do all the 48 states together? And ride all the time, and now we barely get to ride together anymore? Well, I'm off from work today. Bobby's retired now, lucky bastard. So I'm going to go down, meet him, and we're going to go for a ride today. I don't know where we're going to go. Let's see. Good old Lola. Say hi to everybody, Bob.
Oh no. No.
Look, Bobby's back.
Where'd you get that?
Look at Bob looking for mermaids in his retired life.
Whoa! Wow. All right, let me go in there. Oh man, it looks like your battery's gonna die.
Alright, I was ready to film all this with the garage door open, but as usual, as soon as I took the camera out, someone started cutting grass. So, excuse the dark garage as usual. It's a couple days after my ride with Bobby. If you're watching the channel a long time, you know who Bobby is. We worked together for, well, he was at the job 36 years. 18 of those we worked together. I've been there 18 years. He just retired, and Bobby and I did all the lower 48 states by motorcycle together over the years. So you go back early on the channel, there's some videos from those road trips. Most of them are probably muted because I had copyright music in them back then. But anyway, it was good to get out with Bobby. So happy that he retired. He's happy. 36 years is a long time to be pushing orange juice. I got 7 more to go. We'll see. Anyway, so I got the brake line for Roxy. I put it on. Okay, wait. I didn't film anything because if you've been watching this channel a while, you know I'm far from a mechanic. I'm an oil changer, brake pad changer. I spent all of my working life driving forklifts, moving tractor trailers, and backing trains in buildings. So that's my specialty. I'm not a mechanic. So get in the comments all you want and say I shouldn't own a Shovelhead. You're probably right. I shouldn't. If you want any mechanical advice, especially on these older bikes, Slickhead Custom Cycles, Hippie's Chopper Corner, Saddle Tramp, Ralph, It's My Time, let's go. Go to those channels. That's where I learned stuff from. I know Slick and Saddle Tramp personally, so that's where the phone calls go. I should probably call Hippie because everybody knows that Hippie's a lot nicer than Slick. But anyway, I didn't film any of it, but I got the new brake line on Roxy. I bled the brakes, they're still a little soft, so I got the zip tie around there. Until tomorrow morning, we'll check it out. Hopefully I have a rock hard brake lever by then. When I hooked it up, everything's all dry. I told you the old brake line was leaking out of here. So they were finally able to locate a new one. They ordered it, it was in within a week. I got that job done. Now this, I told you about my excess sumping issue. I did call Slick. He said that 60 weight should have nothing to do with it. Why it started sumping more after I changed the oil. One thing shouldn't have something to do with the other. If I'm trying to spit that out and say that right. But he said I could run 50 weight all year if I felt better, so I put 50 weight back in it. Since then, I've started it 3 times, and she spritzed a little, but she did not puke like she's been puking. So is that a coincidence too? I don't know. But I will tell you one thing, she's running good. And when I'm done blabbering here, we're going to take it for a ride. Because I ride this bike probably a little more than all the other ones lately. Not far, but I ride it a lot. Because it's sketchy, but boy is it fun. So anyway, I'm probably going to end this video here. I think I got enough between blabbering and going for a ride with Bobby. So I'd like to say thanks for watching Jersey Nick Moto as usual. If you have not yet, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Keep your head on a swivel out there. Later.